As a developer, you understand the importance of writing good code. It's more readable, easier to maintain, enabling you to release new features and products faster. But painstaking manual code reviews waste time, overlook errors, put security at risk, and delay your product releases. Yes, you use linters and IDE plugins, but most of them are noisy and full of false positives. This leads to more lost time, missed bugs, and a poor developer experience. This is where DeepSource comes in. DeepSource automates the code review process by detecting and fixing code quality and security issues, and even formats code to follow style guidelines. With DeepSource, every code change is analyzed continuously, so you can fix problems before they end up in production. Plus, DeepSource naturally integrates into your existing workflows, making the changeover seamless. So why wait to get the tool that even NASA uses? Get started with DeepSource today and save time in code reviews.
Hello everyone, welcome to the kickoff event for Hacktoberfest over DeepSource. So we'll be talking about what Hacktoberfest is, and later down the line we'll have a few videos on how to contribute to Hacktoberfest as a maintainer and as a contributor. We'll also have a bunch of talks lined up with some of our favorite maintainers for Hacktoberfest. So Hacktoberfest started off as a very small event with about 676 participants 8 years ago to encourage maintainers and contributors alike to grow their open source projects. And since then, it has grown on to be one of the biggest events in open source in the last couple of years. And this year, we are proud to say DeepSource is partnering with DigitalOcean to bring Hacktoberfest to you. So for the entire month of October, developers from across the globe will make contributions to open source projects, and you end up winning a lot of cool swag. So for maintainers, if you have a repository, you add your labels, your Hacktoberfest label to your issues, or you add a topic called Hacktoberfest to your repository, and you merge valid pull requests, and you choose which pull requests are legit and not. And yeah, so this is what Hacktoberfest is all about. So how do you get started contributing to Hacktoberfest? You sign up on the Hacktoberfest website, which is hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com. And once you have submitted 4 quality pull requests to one of these qualifying repositories or issues, you end up winning swag. This time around, Hacktoberfest has gone on and given you a choice to get a tree planted in your name as well, just in case you want to go green. Now I'll invite Shivam to take you through how DeepSource helps contributors across the world ship good code. And over to you, Shivam.
Hey folks, I'm Shivam. I work at the platform engineering here at DeepSource. And at DeepSource here, our mission always has been to help developers ship good code. And this is why we love Hacktoberfest. Open source, it has been an integral part of our communities ever since we started. Over 10,000 open source projects trust us to help them write good code. And we have helped them prevent over 15 million quality issues and security issues since we released the first version in 2019. As a token of our contribution to this wonderful community, open source software builders, and to help contributors, new and experienced both, and to help them find areas of improvements in popular open source project, we built Discover. Discover is a platform that simply helps you discover. It's as simple as it can get. And instead of wasting your time explaining it in words, let me just show you a demo. Okay, so to access Discover, you just simply go deepsource.io/discover. You're greeted with a wonderful page with list of all projects, open source projects that use DeepSource for code quality. And we have a bunch of projects across technologies. So you can simply filter by, let's say, if you're interested in contributing to Python projects, just click on Python. We load up all the repositories that are Python. We have a special label called Hacktoberfest. This means that these repositories are accepting contributions for Hacktoberfest. You can do the same for Go, Java, JavaScript, and there is a trending list. I can also watch a few repositories. For instance, I can, if I think Hawkeye is an interesting project, which I'm sure it is, I go to the watch list, and it's all added here back. I head back to Discover, So let's try to make a contribution to it. So AppSmith is a wonderful project that uses DeepSource. They've been building wonderful things out there in the open source world. So we access their AppSmith's dashboard. You get to see a bunch of issues. The issues are all categorized as all issues, recommended issues, bug risk, anti-pattern, security, performance, etc. Maybe just let's go through the recommended issue and see if we can find something simple and succinct. Okay, this looks fine. Let's do this. It says duplicate conditions in if else if. DeepSource always provides a very descriptive and comprehensive description of what the issue actually is and how do you resolve such an issue and what scenarios these issues are applicable. And since we have just one instance of this can be quick. So I just click the file here and it takes me to the VCS provider, which is GitHub in this case. We can inspect what the issue is. So it says this condition is redundant, which means there is probably a condition, same condition up there somewhere. This seems like it. Yep. So let's spin up the web editor. I can remove this entire line and then refactor would be a better term. We're going semantic. Refactor, remove, redundant condition, and then comment this page. Then you can create a new branch for this commit. Yep. You can go to our fork. So I've already forked. If I go to DeepSource Labs, so run DeepSource /AppSmith. I'll have my patch one here. Yes, I have that. I can just click contribute. We have a pull request template here. Always ensure we fill in the pull request template. The description is removing redundant if else if block. So none of these are refactoring conditions. And move this for now. This has not been tested, yes, of course, but I'll keep the checklist for the contribution for the maintainers to follow and create a contribution here. Do a create pull request and for reference, I'll add this page here. There we go. So further ahead, I'll just go down and ensure all the tests are running fine. I'll follow the checklist to make sure I'm compliant to the guidelines fully. And this is your first contribution. Furthermore, we have a few tips and tricks for both maintainers and contributors to make this Hacktoberfest a success. Let's spin that up.
So, you really want to get started with contributing to open source, but confused where to start? Alright, let's do this. Start by knowing your own strengths. Pick a programming language that you're confident about, and then a project that interests you. If you're struggling with making the right choice, start looking for relevant labels that appear on the project. If you're a beginner, look for labels like Good First Issue, or Beginner, or Easy. If you want to try your hand at something else, look for labels like Bug Fix, or New Feature, or Help Wanted. Sites like First Timers Only and goodfirstissue.dev can help. Now that we have found our project, let's take some time to learn about it. It is important to understand what the project is about before thinking of possibly contributing to them. So look at how the code is structured, read the documentation, and try to set it up locally. The README file should have setup instructions. Take a look at some of the open issues and read through the comments to get context. See if it is assigned to someone or if someone's left a comment that they're working on it. And if the issue has been stale for a while, tag them and ask them if they're working on it. Or just look for another issue. There are plenty of them across thousands of repositories. Now that you have the project set up locally, start working on your contribution. A quick tip: don't send pull requests with punctuation fixes or white space removals. You might piss off the maintainer. If you don't know where to start, try DeepSource Discover. It curates code quality issues across thousands of open source repositories. Each issue has a neat description that explains what it is and how to fix it. You'll learn something new every time. If you're just getting started with programming, no worries, don't give up yet. Look for issues that don't require code changes. Improve the documentation or help with translations. Make sure to join the community forums like Slack or Discord or IRC and get yourself acquainted with the project, its maintainers, and other contributors. You'll make friends along the way. Communicate with the maintainers in the forums or via issue comments to make sure you're on the same page. Alright, you've made the fixes, it's time to create a pull request. Check if the project has a PR template and stick to it. Fill in all the info in the specified format and boom, you just made your first open source contribution. This Hacktoberfest, ship good code.
As maintainers, you're looking to attract high quality contributions. Let's take a look at few things that could help you achieve that. Document your expectations. Define what a high quality contribution means to you. Prepare a readme or contributing.md file and add as much information about your project. What's it about? How to set it up locally? How to contribute? This is going to be the face of your project. You'll attract quality contributions by making it clear and easy to follow. Create a PR template. A thorough pull request template will help potential contributors get a good idea of what exactly is expected in the pull request. Ask for a description of the contribution being made. How was it tested? Does it pass the CI builds? Have a checklist of things to self-review before creating a pull request. Good labeling practices go a long way. When your project pops up on GitHub or GitLab or aggregators like Good First Issue, simple, easy to understand labels help contributors choose the suitable issue to work on. The labels can be easy, help needed, or just good first issue. Good labeling practices attract relevant contributions. Welcome and reward your contributors. Appreciation goes a long way. Try and reward your contributors by mentioning them in release notes, blog posts, a README showcase, or a Twitter mention. On the other hand, if you receive a contribution you don't want to accept, be as descriptive as possible, as transparent as possible. Contributors feel encouraged when you show that you care. Set up static analysis. Set up CI with static analysis, preview and test environments. You can also use tools like DeepSource that automate code quality and security checks on every pull request by default. Happy Hacktoberfest!
Hey, hope these tips help you. Right now, we have a bunch of open source maintainers lined up to share their experiences about Hacktoberfest and about their projects. First, I invited Didier Lopes. Amongst his many great projects, Gamestonk Terminal is one of the most viral projects. It's a popular Python-based integration environment for investment research. So without further ado, Didier, stage is yours.
So hey, hi everyone. My name is Didier Lopes. I started the development of a Gamestonk terminal a few months ago. Actually, I started it on Christmas, and I put it live basically at the end of February. So this is the GitHub of the project. And let's dive a bit into the project, why I created it, and so on and so forth. So why I created a free and open source investment research terminal. So first of all, I think that the number of investment platforms that were free out there is very limited, and the ones that are free didn't provide enough data to the user for his investments. Then most of the platforms offer really poor customization, mainly in terms of the charts where you can draw lines. There isn't really any platform where you can actually add features on your own. Then no platform that covers all asset classes, from stocks to crypto, bonds, commodities and derivatives, and even analysis techniques. So technical, fundamental, sentiment, and the machine learning. And very few platforms allowed to extract the data, and few to none allowed to develop a machine learning model as seamlessly as GST. because GST is written entirely in Python, one of the advantages is that we can easily deploy machine learning models using all these data, and then provide these machine learning models to the community. And extracting data is just as easy. The terminal is actually something that anyone can do for any type of functionality that we've got. And more importantly, when I was starting to invest, I was finding myself going to Reddit to find the good stocks and read about good stock information that some other person had written, and I didn't find that Reddit was the best tool for this. So I think that now what Gamestonk Terminal really stands for is like this community tool that everyone can use and build reports and then share with their peers. Since the repository went live, we were featured by Vice Magazine, also Daily FinTech, and a number of other finance newspapers. We ranked #1 in Hacker News and rank 1 on GitHub for some time as well, just due to the amount of stars we had. And why open source? So open source, as you know, is centralized, and open source concepts are the best way to get the top ideas and developers and foster a sense of community. So this quote here: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So the first part explains why I was using the private repository from December to end of February, just because I wanted to have an MVP version fast with my kind of vision of what the terminal would be. But then I knew that there was no way that I can carry on this vision on my own, and I need more people that are experts at their field and can shine in where I don't have as much experience. This is what we have right now. This is the current contributors of the project, where we have analysts, data scientists, traders, mathematicians, programmers, finance people, and it just makes the tool much more complete because of the nature of each person, each individual adding the type of value that a different type of value, basically. This is basically the GitHub star history since the release in March. On the first day, we had like over 3.5k stars when it went viral to Reddit. I added here the posts corresponding to the timestamps of Reddit, and it's just interesting to see how much stars we got from each Reddit post, and also to note that these Reddit posts are also on the trading and stock community. So it just shows that people want a terminal like what we are building here. Here I have a few steps on getting started. This can take quite some time, so I added a link which is easier, which you can basically find here. We have a Docker installation, which is new and improved. Is literally really fast, less problems. It just makes sense, so I recommend that one. Otherwise, we have the Anaconda and Python, which may take a bit longer, and it will depend on the machine that you have. So you may have some issues. It shouldn't, but yeah, the first one is recommended. And I added here a link where you can see basically all the features the terminal has right now. So basically we improved this recently. It is still under development, but you can get a look and see what type of features the terminal has. Yeah, and you can also search here for features, exponential moving average, and even see a chart of what happened. Yeah, so in terms of usage, I actually have the terminal here open. I can show you a bit about how it works. Let's go into the main menu. So this is the main menu when we see the terminal. We have this kind of high-level context where you have the stocks, crypto, economy, options, and then inside these you can go, let's say I want to trade stocks, or I want to know more about stocks. And I have a menu with a lot of like sub-menus doing specific things. Let's say that I want to load the stock Apple. I can see the value of Apple as a candle chart. I can check the last news from Apple. And then even better, you can select the menu that makes more sense for what you want to do. So let's say that I want compare Apple with, let's say, Microsoft. I can say, okay, I want here to compare with Microsoft. So when we do now help, you'll see that we are looking into Apple and similar companies. We are putting Microsoft, and then let's say we want to see the income of these companies, and we'll be able to compare their income and other things. And you have also behavioral analysis, which is for sentiment, insider trading, government data, screening, dark pool data, and whatnot. It's really there's over 200 features easily. It's really easy to get lost. But yeah, I added an example here in case the terminal was down or something. That is actually the prediction technique, which is quite an interesting one, where we train a machine learning model to predict the stock price based on the historical data. For instance, this is what it looks like. This is one of the things I'm gonna talk more about a bit later, and why we think that we can build something unique here. So a bit about our roadmap. This is not in particular order. This is things that we are working on and really believe that have a big potential. So improved automatic notebook report generation and data hosting, Jupyter Lab integration as a replacement of the Excel spreadsheet to perform research on an instrument, the bot with access to the terminal to be used on trading groups to discuss stocks or crypto picks, and academic students to develop machine learning models using all data we provide, historical, news, fundamentals, sentiment. So I'm going to give an example of each of these. So the notebook report generation is a feature that we already have. So the way it works is a user can say, okay, so this is my routine. I'll say daily when the market is about to open, I look into the crypto, I look into Bitcoin as a reference, then I look into the coins that are being more traded, then I look into the ones that have had bigger gains the last day, and they can basically define what they do as their due diligence routine, and we can specify these in terms of a notebook, and then when the user wakes up, it just runs the report. It just goes into the crypto context, for instance, and it writes report, and it just runs this predefined list of functionalities that he wants, and it just populates them. And on top of that, because we are using Jupyter Notebook to do that, the user can add markdown cells and write information about it. And what we want to do in the future is to have a website where the user can host this data and share with his peers. So which is going to change the way people trade stocks or crypto, and is going to make it a much more fun and enjoyable experience. And here, these are examples of what we already have. They are much bigger, so this is just a section. So here you can see we have the put and call open interest expiration, and the failure to deliver from the dark pool short menu. Another one that we have, or Ops I, is the Jupyter Lab integration. So we are working towards having the seamless use of the Gamestonk terminal Jupyter Lab. So as you can see here, for instance, you could load from one of the cells directly and use a candle, and you can also specify your API keys. Just because we don't actually hold the data, we are not on the data business, we are on the analytics business. We basically process all these raw data and show it to the user in a meaningful way. And we have really big hopes on this Jupyter Lab integration. We really think that it can change the way institutions write reports that are usually like really boring and extensive. When Jupyter Lab with plots and more interactive text, we think that can change like dramatically. This is the Discord bot. We really find this one interesting. We've been developing this Discord bot now for like a month or so, and this is getting there. And the reason why we have really a big hopes on this one is because we think that we can we can penetrate the market of trading groups. So this just changes the whole way people talk with friends about trading, for instance. So up to now, you'd be talking on Discord with a friend about a stock, and what you end up doing is you end up having to send a link, and your friend has to click on the link and go into there. Or you will have to take a screenshot, and then the screenshot picture gets saved in your laptop, and you drag and drop in the Discord. It's just a lengthy process. Why not just calling a command in the Discord and getting the output of the terminal? And if you're not sure about the name of the commands, you can do like on the left here, where I just call the economy context, and I get a list of commands that I have, and I can use the reaction on Discord in order to call that command and get that output. This is actually this bot was actually an action started by a contributor, and it just shows the power of open source. And finally, what I have is about the machine learning commented previously. So I think this is one of the really big advantages that we have over any other investment research platform, is the fact that we have so much data all written in Python. Is fairly easy to add a machine learning model. So right now, for instance, we are just looking at historical price. So for instance, when we train a long short-term memory neural network, we just look at the past data, which means that it's only so good. But why not using other things? We have all the data at our fingertips on the terminal, so we can start using sentiment news, social media, fundamentals, technical indicators, literally, and everything all together, and people will be able to not only create their own machine learning models, but tune them as they wish and for the stocks they wish. And also because we have this portfolio optimization, and we allow different assets, I'm going to be able to have, for instance, Bitcoin and Apple on my portfolio, and try to optimize them both simultaneously in order to, for instance, try to minimize risk if I'm more risk scary, and that just changed the whole game. And this is why I think that we are doing great. And feel free to join our Discord and help us building the best open source investment research terminal. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Didier. That was indeed great. It's fun to see a comprehensive open source project like this in the space of stocks. Thanks a lot. And I realize it's an awkward time. I think about 4 where you are, 4 in the morning.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for staying up. I hope you got some sleep. Thanks.
Yes, I took a quick nap. Thank you so much. I have a question here. Can I reply quickly?
Sure, please.
Yeah. We allow for stocks in France, Germany, India, London, everywhere. That's also one of the advantage, that we don't actually hold the data. We can just display the data from where we get, and we use Yahoo Finance, and they display the historical price from like globally. So yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
There's another question. Let's take that, and then we can move to the next talk.
Yeah. So basically, as our main, let's say, historical price data provider, we are using Yahoo Finance, and the Yahoo Finance supports most of the exchanges that you can think of. You just need to add the prefix, the suffix at the end. So let's say you would search for not Apple, but Apple dot, and then the name of the exchange, and you would get the stock price. And then, for instance, you can use the prediction techniques on that easily. You may have problems if you do more specific things like fundamentals, where we are looking for data on a website that only has US stocks. But for a lot of things, you'll be fine with any exchange.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. See you around. Okay, folks, that was a wonderful talk. Up next, we have a colleague of mine, Tushar. He'll be taking us through zxpy. It's a simpler way to write shell scripts. Tushar, without further ado, the stage is yours.
Yeah, hey. Thanks a lot, Shivam. So the project that I am trying to showcase today is it's called zxpy, and so it's a small tool that I'm trying to write. And so what it lets you do is it lets you seamlessly write shell commands inside your Python code. And what that does is it lets you create more readable and more maintainable shell scripts. So that's the short idea. Let's actually take a look into why. So This came to be because Bash is actually quite a powerful tool for scripting and so on. Because it has quite a few novel ideas, like the idea of pipes. This what the pipes let you do is you can transfer data between multiple processes, and there are also these tiny tools that you can use from the system, like grep, for example, that let you do quite a lot of processing. And so this combination actually lets you write a really powerful scripts with a short amount of code. So Bash is actually quite good for scripting as it is. But the thing is that Bash is like the whole different language that you have to use if you have to write shell scripts. And as powerful as Bash is, the problem is that the syntax of Bash is not exactly like what you would have seen in quite a lot of the other languages. So for things like conditionals and loops, the Bash code can actually get quite complicated very easily. So the idea with the zxpy is to combine the powers of Bash and Python together. So that gives us is something like this. So here is a small example where we have this string right here that we have prefixed with this tilde sign. And what this is going to do is, so this is like the one piece of addition that zxpy gives you is, this is going to be converted into a shell command that's going to be run inside a sub process. So right here, this you're going to run the get grep tool, and that's something that Python natively cannot do, at least as simply as this. And then with just these 4 lines of, so I would say, the fairly understandable Python code, we get an output that looks something like this, where we have created the table of all of the to-do comments that exist in one of my projects. And doing something like this purely in Bash or purely in Python, it would take quite a lot more code than this right here. So I think that being able to use the system utilities that you have seamlessly inside Python, which is the general purpose and readable programming language, that's what really gives you the powerful environment here to write maintainable and powerful the shell scripts in. So to try and demo that, I'm actually we're going to try to do a live demo of this. So yeah, you can actually start a zxpy shell by typing the zxpy, and this is actually just a Python terminal. You can do things that you can in Python, but the one piece of syntax that has been added is the fact that you can write shell commands inside Python with just one line of code. So let's the simple example is the equivalent of a hello world. There would be if you try to do an echo, and that works just like a print. You can also do things like seek 110. That's going to give you a sequence of 10 numbers. You can also do things like you can try to do a head that gives you the first 5 numbers, or you can also do a tail to get the last 3 numbers, for example. You can use something like X arcs that's going to bring them all into into the same line. So there's quite a lot of the powerful things that the bash commands they can do by themselves. The one more example that's quite nice would be to try and do WC with the -L flag that lets you count the number of lines in the output. So that tells us that there are 55 lines in the output, which means that there's 55 files inside this folder. So things like that are directly possible inside of Bash, but with zxpy you can actually go ahead and do things like try and to store this output and try and do things with that are harder to do just inside Bash. So I'm actually going to try to demo this with a script that I wrote for this. So here is the shell script that's so let's see. So on the top we are trying to do the curl. See, that's it. We're going to try to get some data from the GitHub API, and so we're trying to search here for pull requests that have been merged and that have been made by me. That's what the API call says. Then we're using this third-party software called JQ. See, that's going to process the JSON data and give us all of the repositories, the URLs. Then we have so we are piping that into sed, and then we are doing something weird over here. So we're trying to do some regular expression. Then we are doing a grep-v. If you don't know what that does is grep-v, it gets rid of all the lines that have this part in it. So this is going to get rid of all the URLs that have my mention in there. Then we are piping that to sort-u, things like this. So you do in Bash all the time. So sort-u, the -u actually stands for unique. And so what this is going to do is it's basically going to get rid of all of the duplicates that we have in the output. And then we are doing wc-l. That's counting the number of lines in the output. So to try and explain in short what's happening here is I'm trying to look for how many open source repositories I have contributed to. But trying to read this code, it's actually quite hard to try and understand what's going on. But doing the same thing with something like zxpy, where you can write the actual logic inside Python, it would look something like this, where see you do something like you create a repository class that's the tuple that's going to hold the organization name and the repository name. Then you have a set of repos to make it unique. We are making the same exact response here. But since Python supports multi-line strings, so this is automatically quite a lot more readable. Then we're doing a JSON.loads. It will be the same as the Bash script, but this thing is built into Python, so we don't need to depend on a third-party software. And then we're doing a simple for loop to try and pull out the organization name and the repo name, then give it to a simple conditional, and then we add the repo to the output. So I believe that is quite a lot more readable than the thing that we wrote inside shell in bash. So if you were to try and explain or to maintain this piece of code, this will actually be much more understandable when it comes to having shell scripts, and that's like one of the major strengths of something like this. I think I have one more example that I can show you, which is GitHub issue table. Yeah. Okay, so right here we're using the rich library, which what it does is it has a bunch of terminal utilities to get a rich output from the terminal. We are making the same request, and so what we're trying to do is we are trying to create a table that has the username and the name of the issue that I have, and we are adding the rows of the data into the table, and then we are printing it out. So let's actually take a look at with the output of this, and yeah, hopefully this works. And yeah, so something like this would simply not be possible with something like bash, because there isn't as vast of a community of projects and libraries that exist as Python does. So this opens up doors for so many more things that you can do inside your shell scripts. So that was the short demo for the library. There's actually quite a lot more key features inside the library that you can take a look at. And I'm like really interested in what all the community is going to build with a project like this. I'm really interested in seeing what people create out of this. So yeah, that's my showcase. The library is called zxpy, and yeah, that's all.
Hey, Tushar, thanks a lot. That was great. Indeed, a novel approach. Seems like we don't have any questions. Thanks a lot, Tushar, for giving us the talk. It's an interesting project. We'll definitely take a look. Next up, we have Stefan Dilip. He could not join us live, but he was gracious enough to provide a recording of his talk. And he's the author of the project Git UI, which is a Rust-based terminal for Git. There are fans of the project here at DeepSource, Stefan. If you're hearing that, thanks for the wonderful project. Let's spin the video up.
Welcome to Hacktoberfest. I'm Stefan, and I invite you to contribute to Git UI during Hacktoberfest. In the next few minutes,
Very sorry for this. We have some problems streaming this video right now. Let's instead we'll upload this video right onto our YouTube channel for everyone to watch. And we apologize for this show. Stefan, we got this. We'll upload the video up. Thanks for the wonderful project. Git UI is amazing. We love it here at DeepSource. A lot of us use it. Next, we have Aniket Maurya with gradsflow. It's an AutoML library based on PyTorch, and very novel approach has been running wild for a while.
Hi everybody, I am going to present gradsflow, an open source AutoML and PyTorch model training library. About me, I work at Machine Convey Technologies. I mostly solve problems with machine learning and computer vision. And I have created two open source libraries, Chitra and gradsflow. I am a core contributor of PyTorch Lightning Flash. Chitra is a model training library which can also create automatically API for you and prototype UI for your machine learning models. It is framework agnostic. It can also automatically Dockerize your machine learning models, and then it can deploy your code to AWS Lambda. And you do not need to know how AWS Lambda works. So now I will be talking about gradsflow. Gradsflow is a powerful and easy to extend model training API, which can be used to train any kind of PyTorch model very easily. It is easy to extend that you can customize your model training step at any point of time. It provides automatic machine learning model building and training so that you do not have to build your model by yourself, and it provides automatic hyperparameter tuning, so you do not have to tune your learning rate, your various hyperparameters in the model while training it, and you do not have to manually select different neural networks. You can do it automatically with gradsflow. If you are a data scientist, you can increase your productivity by using gradsflow. So it will remove your repetitive tasks like model selection and hyperparameter selection. So use gradsflow. Gradsflow was first released on 25th August 2021, basically a month back around. And so far it has 100 commits, and I met the 100th commits last night, and it has 180 plus stars and 5K downloads. So if you want to use Gradsflow, just pip install Gradsflow. Now getting started with Gradsflow. So I will show you a small image classification training example with Gradsflow. So first, to train any image classifier, you have to create a neural network. So I have created a Resonate 18 neural network model here. I have specified num classes suppose is equal to 2. So suppose if you want to classify between a cat and a dog, so you can set 2, or if you have more number of classes, you can specify here. Next, Glassflow provides a model class in which you can put your neural network model, and it do a lot of heavy lifting for you. So you do not have to move your model into a device like CPU or GPU, and you can automatically enable floating point precision or do distributed training. So it is powered by Hugging Face Accelerate library. Next is model.compile. It will you can specify your loss function, optimizer for your model, and learning rate, and then metrics. So basically it can be accuracy and F1 score. So it will just, you can just enter the name of the loss function, name of the optimizer. It will automatically create everything for you. You do not need to instantiate an object, but you can do that as well. So after compile, you prepare your data set. So there is an auto dataset class which accepts training data loader and validation data loader. It will do some automatic thing for you, like you won't have to move your data, and distributor, it will help you in distributor training. So once you are ready, you can just do model.fit data. It will train your neural network on your data set, and this is how the whole code looks like. So it is very easy to train any model in Grassflow. So you do not have to write any training loop in PyTorch, or you do not have to create optimizers or anything. Just create the model instance and model compile, and just fit your model to your data set. So this are high level methods provided by model. There are some other methods as well, but most of the time we will be using these methods only. The first method in it basically defines it basically takes your model architecture like PyTorch model, and it will do a lot of magic for you. Like it will automatically do device management, floating point precision update, and distributed training. Then with compile, you can create optimizer, loss function, and metrics. So and then you can use model.fit for training. So this was what I showed you in the MS classification training. And then comes train val step and train val epoch. So suppose if you are training a neural network which is not very straightforward like MS classification, so you might want to customize your training or validation step, or even training or validation epoch. So Grassflow is extendable. You can customize anything in the model training process. So I will show you how you can do that. So this is an example of generative adversarial model training, GAN training. So basically it will take an image and convert into different image. So if you do not know about GAN, don't worry. I have simplified the code so that you do not, anyone with some level of Python experience can understand this code. So I create a custom class Pix2Pix that inherits from model class of gradsflow. Then I define an init function, init method, inside which I do I do initialize my custom model. So you can do anything here. Just after that, I pass my model to the parent init method, which is using the super key init, and then pass it to this init method. After that, I have customized my compile method. So I have a custom optimizer. So I customize my optimizer and then call the compile method a parent class, which is using super.compile. After this, I want to customize my training. So training accepts a batch object. It contains your training data in the current batch. So I do some custom training, and then in the last, you can do whatever you want to do in this inside this, but in the last you must return a dictionary with a loss in it. So once you have done all this step, you can train your machine learning model easily using this usual interface. You create a model, compile it, prepare your data set, and just do model.fit, and it will automatically train the model for you. So you see here, I have trained this GAN and pasted a screenshot. So the first one is a conditional image which has been converted into this last image. It doesn't, and this middle one is the reference image. Doesn't look that great, but if you train for more epochs, it will improve further. So if you are interested, the whole code for this Pix2Pix GAN training is available on the documentation of gradsflow. So you can head over to docs.gradsflow.com, and there you have example section. Then you see different kind of examples: auto image classification, model training, hyperparameter tuning, Hugging Face model training, and then Pix2Pix code explanation. So this Pix2Pix code explanation, so all the examples here, you can directly open it in Google Colab and run the code. So you can experiment while reading the code. And in the last, you can see I have trained the model with gradsflow model.fit, and you can see the results. The first one is like nothing, then it is improving. The last is the model output, last images. So you can see the image quality is improving bit by bit. So if you train it for more epoch, it can maybe improve further. So what is the architecture of gradsflow? In the core, it has auto model, base model, and auto dataset. So these provide some basic functionalities for your model training and automatic model training. So these are basically easily extensible to do different kind of tasks. So at high level, I have model training, then auto ML. In model training, the one I showed you example of model class, and then there is tracker which tracks basically everything about your model training, your loss accuracy. Then with tuner, you can easily tune your hyperparameters for your model. Then comes auto ML. So since it is an auto ML library, it provides you some already defined tasks like image classification, text classification, sentiment analysis, auto text summarization. So you do not need to create any model for that. You just need to prepare your data, and it will automatically train it for you. So you do not need to build your model like the previous example I showed you. So this is an example I have put here. It is for auto text summarization. So text summarization is a problem where you have a long text and you want to summarize into a shorter number of text. So suppose if you have a newspaper article and you want to summarize it to one sentence, so you can use auto summarization. You just prepare your data, and from gradsflow import auto summarization, put your data, set a timeout on how long you want to train, and just do model.hp tune. It will create and train the model for you. And how to contribute to gradsflow. Why should you contribute? First of all, you will learn while you develop. Also, gradsflow is a very young project, so you will be a part of building something from scratch. So there are a lot of issues that is yet to be fixed, a lot of features that is yet to be built. What you can contribute is you can improve the documentation, add some examples, like add some object detection example or any kind of example that you think is missing from the documentation. And after this, you can fix existing issues that is on our GitHub repo. So you can head over to github.com and then search gradsflow. There you can find some issues, and then you can, if you want, you can find some bugs and fix those bugs as well. And if you think there should be a feature integrated into gradsflow, you can raise a feature request or create a pull request for features. So, and test cases. So for a project, test case is very important, so that users do not get unexpected surprises. So we write test cases. So right now it is 93 or 94%. So we really would like to increase it further. How to contribute? So you can fork the repo and create a new branch with any branch name you want, and then you can update the code and write test cases, new test cases if required for your code. Then with, you can run the test cases with PyTest and verify if all the test cases are running, passing or not, and then you can commit and push to a fork repo and then create a pull request to gradsflow. Also, most important thing is don't hesitate to ask for help. So we have a Slack community channel, so you can join there and ask questions. So don't feel free to ping me if you have any doubt, if you want to do any thing in gradsflow. So that's all, one commit at a time. Thank you.
Hey, Aniket, thanks a lot for this. It was an excellent talk.
Thank you.
Good to know about this project. How long have you been building it for?
It started in August 25. Like, I made it public, but it started around middle of August this year.
Fairly new. So folks,
Yeah.
whoever is watching the stream, if you want a novel project, just contribute to, just message Aniket. Aniket, thanks a lot for this.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay. That brings to the last leg of this event. We have Vishnu here with some closing notes. Vishnu, the stage is yours.
Hey everyone, so thanks for being with us for the last an hour or so. We have a bunch of announcements to make. So we are doing something interesting. So we will be having a bunch of events lined up throughout October, where we'll be bringing you talks from maintainers. We'll be live tweeting about. We'll have a lot of Twitter spaces where we'll talk about open source and contributing and having multiple events throughout the month. We'll also be doing an after party in Bangalore NSF. So if you're a maintainer with more than 10 contributions, we will be happy to host you in one of our after parties. So stay tuned for the details for that. You can also take a look at deepsource.io/Hacktoberfest for all the events that are coming up. And for up-to-date information, we will be tweeting on our Twitter handles, and we'll be featuring some really good issues, and we'll also feature interviews. We'll be hosting Twitter Spaces, etc. If you want to get in touch with us, feel free to hop onto our Discord server, and we'll be happy to talk to you at any point of time. So that's about it. Happy hacking and happy Hacktoberfest. Bye bye.